What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Clever's Multiverse. And today, what we got going on is the top 10 figures of 2024. I've been working on this list for a little bit because 2024 was actually a stellar year, in my opinion. Like, Marvel Legends was putting out a bunch of material that we all appreciated, like a bunch of figures that we really liked. And I was really surprised, with 2024 as opposed to like 2023, which was like horrible in my opinion. So, with that being said, these are the 10 figures that I think meant the most to me. And these are the 10 figures that I think I appreciated the most out of everything that dropped. I mean, there was a lot of good figures, but not everything rose to the top. So, these are the 10 that rose to the top for me, and I'm trying to see if maybe, you guys agree with me. So let's take a look at these 10 figures and you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think? And do you think that any of these 10 or all of these 10 should have been on the list? And if not, who made your list? With that being said, number 10. Number 10 is going to have to go to She-Hulk. And this She-Hulk right here is a figure that I've wanted for a long time. And I have a bunch of She-Hulks, but the She-Hulks that I have are all like MCU type, or even if they are comic type, the green and the gray that I have, they're not this one. This is the one that I remember from when I was growing up, the one that I remember in the comic books. This is the one that is more accurate and true to form to me as far as what I remember. This was the only figure that came from that Iron Man wave that I think anybody was really checking for, because to this day, I still see Whiplash and I still see the other guy, I forgot his name right now, but they are heavy in Walmart and Target, just sitting there doing nothing. This is the one out of the whole wave that everybody was really checking for. I think a lot of people wanted this She-Hulk and a lot of people gravitated towards it, and they grabbed it as soon as it came out because I saw this on the shelf one time. I grabbed it and it was over right there. Number 9 is going to have to go to Iron Fist from the Iron Fist and Luke Cage double pack that just recently came out. Now, this is one of my favorite figures this year for a couple of reasons, and one being that I really needed an Iron Fist for my collection. Iron Fist is one of those characters that's come out once or twice, but nothing too crazy. So if you missed out on like the original green Iron Fist, and then if you missed out on the white Iron Fist, you was kind of like done right there, which was my scenario because I've been trying to put together my defenders for a minute. And the one person that I was really like gravitating towards and really like, damn, I really want this guy was Iron Fist. So when I saw this Iron Fist come out, I was like, yo, I gotta jump on this. And then, not for nothing, the fact that it came with Luke Cage, like it could have came with Iron Fist and some other character we didn't even know about, but it came with Luke Cage. And this Luke Cage right here is popping. I really don't care what nobody's telling me. I really like this Luke Cage too, but I'm gonna give number 9 to Iron Fist. This is on the Renew Your Vows body wave. He's very articulate. This is everything I could have asked for when it comes to Iron Fist. So number 9 is going to him. Number 8 is going to have to go to Jean Grey. And this is a figure right here I really wanted to place a little bit higher, but I really couldn't because I just like the other ones better. I'm probably partial to this character as well because I have a whole Phoenix Saga shelf going on. And that's one of my favorite storylines that ever came from the comics as far as X-Men is concerned. So I really love Jean Grey. I really love the Phoenix Force. I really love Dark Phoenix. I love the White Room. I love everything about Phoenix Saga. So, this figure really stood out to me. This figure has also not come out in a long time. So the first time that this figure came out that I was able to snatch it up was from the first X-Men wave. I think it was the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure wave, which was a long time ago. What was that, like 2007? So, this was due for an upgrade. Then we had the Dark Phoenix that came out like last year that was heavy in Ross for some reason. I don't know why nobody was picking that up. But those are still two different Phoenixes. So, I really appreciated that she came out with the green costume again, because my whole shelf is showing the transformation from Phoenix into Dark Phoenix, and that's something I wanted to go with right there. So this is a go all day for me. This would be the centerpiece for my Phoenix Saga display, and I really love this figure. So it is what it is. Number 7 is going to X-Men 97 Cyclops. Now this figure is a figure that really surprised me because, to be honest with you, I really wasn't checking for this figure when it first came out until like I had it in my hand. I originally thought that it was going to take so much more for me to move away from my Jim Lee X-Men Cyclops that I've been holding on to for like the longest. That's been sitting up there, and to me, that's been the pivotal Cyclops in my collection. But I really like this Cyclops right here. I mean, so many things about this figure were done right. I really love how the paint came out in this figure, and it made me look at my Jim Lee one a little more suspect now because it's more of like a teal, and I really like the way this blue pops right here. I really like the way the yellow pops on this one right here. I really like the way the plastic molds came out for the 2024 figures and the articulation. I really love how it has the optic blast coming out. I mean, you could never go wrong with that. We all want Cyclops to have the optic blast. This figure right here was refreshing on so many different levels. And out of everybody that came in the wave, I want to say that this was my favorite one from the X-Men 97 collection. Number 6 is gonna go to the only villain that made this list, to be honest with you, and that's gonna have to be Sabertooth from the Sabertooth and Wolverine double pack. Now, in my opinion, this was the only double pack that was worth it this year. I mean, they dropped like what 3 or 4 of them at the top of the year, and this was the only one that I was like, yo, I need to get that Sabertooth. And I know I wasn't the only one who felt that way because, as far as I can tell, this was the only one that was getting sold out. I mean, the Psylocke one is heavy in stores. The white Hulk and the white Wolverine patch is heavy in stores. All the other ones, the Brood Wolverine, you could find them slipping anywhere. This was the one that you could not find, in a lot of places because everybody was gunning for the Sabertooth. Not to mention that the last Sabertooth that came out before this was going for like $100 or some change. It was really ridiculous. And to be honest with you, it wasn't even popping like that. It was just like that was the best Sabertooth that we had at the moment. But this Sabertooth right here really killed it. For me, this was worth buying a double pack because I really don't feel any type of way about the other Wolverine. I don't dislike him. I don't like him. But, I just don't feel like I got robbed because this Sabertooth is so official. So number 6 is going to Sabertooth. Halfway up the list, and here we are with number 5. And that's going to have to go to Superior Spider-Man. Now, even though I've been had this figure, and I didn't even bother doing a review on it because I felt like so many people had done it before me, this was actually one of my favorite figures. I mean, anytime that Spider-Man is going to come with extra arms and extra legs and whatever the case is, whatever you want to call them, I think I'm gonna jump on that. Like Iron Spider, Scarlet Spider, whatever Spider-Man you want to talk about, when it comes with the extra legs or whatever it is you want to call them, they come out dope and I want them in my collection. I'm sorry. I also like the fact that this is not Peter Parker, but it is Superior Spider-Man, which is Doc Ock. And Doc Ock, when I was growing up, was one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. I mean, I really respected him when I was younger. Still do. So the fact that this is not Peter Parker, it doesn't feel like another do-over because we have like so many Spider-Man already as it is. It's kind of refreshing too, right there. Something to add to the collection where it's like, oh, that's Spider-Man. Like, yeah, it is, but not really. So number 5 is going to Superior Spider-Man. Here we are at number 4, and that's gonna have to go to Cable. And not for nothing, the X-Men are my favorite Marvel team. I mean, they really do it for me. That's who I grew up on. That's who I first started reading comics with was the X-Men. And Cable is no joke. And if you guys have been watching my channel, you guys know I've been doing my Marvel vs. Capcom or Street Fighter vs. Marvel section, and I'm really loving how that section is coming out. This costume is identical to the Marvel vs. Capcom costume. So this has to go on the shelf. This is a figure that I really want. I just haven't been able to get my hands on him as of yet, but this guy will be mine. I want to say within the next couple of weeks because I am not playing with that shelf. I think out of all the Cable figures that have been released, this is one of my favorite Cable figures. Besides the one that came out, what was it with the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure? I kind of forget when he had like the oversized chest piece and the oversized gun that sticks in the back. That one was my favorite for a long time, but this one really took the cake. And here we are with number 3. And that's going to have to go to Marvel's Warbird. Now, besides the fact that there were a couple of problems with this figure, one being that it was a Target exclusive, and 2 being how it was such a mishandling of it. Like, it was like all over the place. It was so hard to get this figure. Some people were getting 5 of them. Some people were getting none of them. I happened to luck out and I was able to grab one of them like at 3 in the morning on release date. Don't ask me how, but it worked out for me. Another thing about this figure is the fact that it was so seldomly released. I mean, we had the Toy Biz one, and I think we had one other issue before that. But this figure is not a figure that's been overdone at all. This is a figure that a lot of people have wanted in their collections for a long time. And just because of the scarcity of it, we were not able to get it, which is why it sucks that it was a Target exclusive. This was also a figure that I needed for my X-Men vs. Avengers section, which happened to go along great. So yeah. Number 3 is going to Warbird. Number 2 is going to Astonishing X-Men Wolverine. Now, this is another figure that kind of crept up on me because I told myself that I was not going to get this figure. But then I saw it in person and I was just like, oh no, I gotta grab this Wolverine. This Wolverine does look crazy. When it comes to the Astonishing X-Men Wolverine, I do feel like they did a lot of things right. One of the things that they did wrong was the fact that I feel like this figure was just a little bit too big, you know, for Wolverine, because Wolverine's supposed to be smaller in stature. This one's just a little bit bigger. But besides that gripe right there, this figure is really well done. This is another figure that I have in my X-Men verse Avengers section, and he's putting the smacks on Captain America no problem, and I really like the way that came out. This figure is pretty lucky that the X-Men 9/7 Wolverine came out late 2023, because I was looking at the calendar and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. If X-Men 9/7 Wolverine would have came out in 2024, then it would have took this spot no problem, and Astonishing Wolverine wouldn't even be here. But with that being said, that's not what happened. So Astonishing Wolverine is my number 2 pick. And here we are finally at number 1. And if you guys have been following my channel, you know I kind of predicted it from the beginning of the year when I first unboxed this figure. And I told you guys, this is probably going to be my favorite figure of the year. So yeah, my favorite figure of the year, my number 1 figure is going to the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. This figure was amazing on so many levels. I got this in my D-Top. This is looking tough. I love everything about this figure. There's one thing I don't like about it, and it's the fact that I think the figure itself, Danny Ketch, is a little bit undersized. But with that being said, I love everything about this guy. Once he's on the bike, you can't even tell what's going on with his size. And if you ask me, Johnny Blaze was just a little bit too big for his bike. So they was probably trying to correct that, and they just, you know, overstated it just a little bit. But whatever the case is, number 1 on my list is going to the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. This figure is amazing on so many levels. If you have this figure, then you know what time it is already. This is it for me. Number 1, Ghost Rider. And those are my top 10 figures for 2024. I mean, if you ask me, this was a really good year for Marvel Legends. I mean, almost everything that they dropped was pretty much smacking. I mean, they wasn't batting 1,000, but if you ask me, they was batting like 700, 800, which is pretty good for Marvel Legends because 2023 was horrible. Anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for spending this time with me. I hope you have a great New Year's coming up, and I look forward to catching you guys in 2025 with a whole bunch of new material and keep the party going. Until next time, peace.